Hello and welcome to Practical Penetration Testing course with Kali 2016 and Metasploit. This is Emin from Felt Secure Education Labs and I will be your personal instructor. Let me first quickly introduce myself. I'm a computer scientist and a PhD candidate with 8 years of real-life working experience in the IT industry. During the past 5 years, I have focused on information security projects, and to be more specific, I have conducted lots of penetration tests and security audits for both public institutions and private sector companies. Some of the certificates I hold: GXPN, Exploit Researcher and Advanced Penetration Tester, GSNA, Systems and Network Auditor, and ISO 27001, Lead Auditor. And I think that's enough for the introduction part. Let's go back to business. The purpose of this course is very simple. You will learn the practical and technical skills required to perform penetration testing by setting your own lab environment and using Kali Linux. By using the term penetration testing or simply pen testing, I mean truly professional, safe, and repeatable techniques which you can use in your professional life. So you might be wondering, what is the difference? I already know some tools and tricks to hack into systems. But the answer is simple. Knowing how to use some tools or gaining foothold in systems is simply not enough to be a complete ethical hacker. You also need to follow the best practices and a professional, step-by-step approach to stand out of the crowd. In this course, you will learn Kali, Nmap, and Metasploit tools and how do they work together. You may want to protect your company from hackers by learning their techniques, or maybe you want to sharpen your skills in penetration testing. Whatever the specific reason you are with me, I'm here to show you how to achieve these goals. Let me quickly walk you through the sections of this course. In the next section, which is section 2, we will talk about the true meanings of penetration testing and ethical hacking. This part is slightly theoretical, but I promise it will be short and concise. At the end of the day, knowing why you are doing what you are doing is simply essential. In section 3, you will prepare your ethical hacking environment with me. Downloading and running Kali Linux is of course great, but you also need to practice your skills, right? You need machines to scan and infiltrate. I will show you how you can find them. We will set up Metasploitable and Windows 7 machines, victim machines together. In section 4, we will take a deeper look on Kali Linux. Kali is specifically tailored to the needs of penetration testing professionals, and that's why you need to learn the details. You will practice the interface, configuration details, and the architecture of Kali Linux distribution in that part. Until section 5, you will learn Kali basics and take a glance on the platform. But before going any further and do some more practice, we will need to adjust something on the victim machines. And in that section, I will walk you through how to deploy Metasploitable and Windows operating system. In section 6, you will take a big step to be an ethical hacker and start scanning machines for vulnerabilities. You will see how host discovery works with Nmap and play with the tools to achieve that. If Kali is our universe, Metasploit would be the Earth. In section 7, I will walk you through the essentials of Metasploit and how you can make use of this great tool. And finally, in section 8, you will get your hands dirty and practice the great skills you will learn in this course. Windows operating system is the main target here. So far we have talked about the content of this course. But there is one more thing which is very important. This course is only for ethical purposes. You can of course use these skills to protect yourself, your institution, your company from hackers. But if you want to do penetration testing for businesses, if you want to practice actual ethical hacking, don't forget to sign an agreement. You should not use any of the skills you will learn in this course against anyone or against any system without written consent. And secondly, if you don't understand something in this course, please ask. Just ask. Keep in mind, this course is not a tutorial or a YouTube video. This is a Udemy course specifically designed for you. Please do not hesitate to ask questions, leave comments, or simply say hello using the questions pane. This section is a bit theoretical. You will learn what is pen testing, types of pen tests, and the overall process in this part. Alright, bad guys, they are everywhere, including cyberspace, meaning that there are people outside who use information technologies to take advantage of people, companies, or even governments. Very generic term to call them is hackers, cyber criminals. They steal our credit card information, they hack into systems and steal confidential data, intellectual property. They can even reach out to government secrets. But how can we defend ourselves from them? There are many things we can do to protect our digital ecosystem, including our computers, mobile devices, or servers from the threats the hackers create. We can also use antivirus software. We can use host-based or network-based intrusion detection systems like Snort or OSSEC. We can even deploy data loss prevention systems. But still, whatever we do, we will be missing something important: the perspective of bad guys. We need to know the digital assets which are at stake in case of an incident. We also need to know the exposure and risk level of our systems, if our systems are compromised by hackers. That's why we, the good guys, should be there as well. We should play their role. You might be thinking, what can we do about it? How can we fill this gap between the bad guys and us, the good guys? The answer is simple. We will change heads. We will play the bad guy's role and test our systems before a real compromise. This is what we call penetration testing, also known as pen testing for short. Pen testing deals with the process of finding flaws in a target environment and taking control of them. It is focused on penetrating the target organization's defenses, compromising systems, and getting access to information. Now we learned the term pen testing, but what about ethical hacking? Oftentimes these terms are being used interchangeably, but in reality they are slightly different. Ethical hacking is a bit more comprehensive than pen testing. Ethical hacking encompasses all hacking and computer attacking techniques to find security flaws with the permission of the target owner, along with discovering the security flaws and vulnerabilities and ensuring the security of the target system. In short, ethical hacking is beyond hacking the system in order to safeguard the security for future. It is an umbrella term, and penetration testing is one of the features of ethical hacking. There are three types of pen test: black box, gray box, and white box. In the black box, pen tester has zero knowledge about the system at first. He discovers every information he needs with using different techniques like social engineering. In gray box, pen tester has limited information about the target. IP addresses, host names, or application version information can be some of them. Most of the times this is the case in real-life penetration tests, since many companies don't want to spend much time for the reconnaissance part. And thirdly, white box. Pen tester knows every detail about the target system. White box tests mostly focus on how defensive mechanisms work in detail. Now we know the types of pen tests. What about pen testing process? Pen testing process has several phases in different standards, but I recommend the following 7-step approach since it is concise, easy to remember, and meaningful. In the first step, which is planning, defining scope, signing agreement, and rules of engagement. This step also includes preparing your environment like Kali. And in the second phase, reconnaissance, it's about searching over internet resources, domain name lookups, even dumpster diving. All of this fall under this category, this phase. Social engineering skills are also included in here. And thirdly, scanning, target selection, scanning open ports and services. And in the fourth phase, which is exploitation, it's about exploiting the vulnerabilities discovered in the scanning phase and maintaining permanent access. And next one, privilege escalation. It's about gaining higher level of privilege after the initial compromise. And in the sixth phase, which is cleaning up, it's about cleaning up the artifacts of exploits and backdoors, etc. This is because we need to keep the systems in their original state. And lastly, phase 7, reporting. Writing the report about the findings based on the severities. These 7 steps are important because these are the key elements which distinguish a professional, high-quality pen test and an amateur one. Whether you are planning to conduct your own tests or you want to ensure your company's pen tests are carried out nicely, this can be your checklist. Now we know the types of pen test and phases of a pen testing process. But what about the scope of a pen test? There are many areas where a pen tester can focus on, such as external network segment, internal network segment, web applications and services, wireless networks, servers, network devices, databases, internal client applications, social engineering, DDoS attacks, or physical security. Depending on the agreement signed, pen testers deal with these areas to find flaws and exploit them. Now we have the basic information about penetration testing and ethical hacking. Let's dive into Kali Linux. Kali is a penetration testing platform which is a Debian-based Linux distribution aimed at advanced penetration testing and security auditing. It contains several hundred tools for various information security tasks such as penetration testing, forensics, or reverse engineering. In Kali, there are many tools at your disposal. No matter which part of penetration test you would want to conduct, like web tests, databases, social engineering, or all other scopes we have mentioned earlier, you will find something useful in Kali. Some background information about Kali. The distro was first released on 13th of March 2013 as a complete top-to-bottom rebuild of Backtrack Linux, adhering completely to Debian development standards. It is developed, founded, and maintained by Offensive Security, an information security training company. But that doesn't mean they actually own Kali. The distro includes many open source tools developed by information security experts all around the world. You can download these tools individually from their websites or repositories, but why would you want to do that? They are already configured to run perfectly in this industry standard penetration testing environment. Kali Linux is specifically tailored to the needs of penetration testing professionals, and therefore using Kali requires some level of familiarity with the Linux operating system in general. But don't worry, I will explain the commands when I'm using Kali in the upcoming lectures. Congratulations! You are doing great so far, and you followed the most theoretical part of the course with me. In this section, we learned what is pen testing and what it is meant for. Simply put, penetration testing is about finding and exploiting vulnerabilities in systems to see the risk of a real compromise before that happens. We also learned there are three main types of pen test: black box, gray box, and white box. The difference is based on the information which pen testers know before the test. Furthermore, we introduced Kali and talked about some essential information about it. You will find the rest of the lectures are hands-on, practical, and much more entertaining. This is a practical course, meaning that you will learn pen testing skills which you are looking for with hands-on exercises. But before doing anything for those exercises, let's think for a moment. We are going to scan for the vulnerabilities and exploit them, right? But how can we do it if we don't have required systems like an attacking environment and vulnerable systems? How can we set them up so that systems operate as if they were deployed in a real production environment? And how can we create an environment without creating a security issue on our systems? Well, the answer is a virtual lab environment. In this section, you will be setting up your lab and get ready for action. The good side of this part is, when you have successfully completed the steps I will walk you through, you will have a cybersecurity lab for your future, for your real-world tasks too. That's why this section is very important, since you are going to use these systems throughout the course and complete the exercises with me. Kali is our number one thing we will use in this course. but it is not the first thing to be downloaded. We need to prepare our underlying applications to run our virtual operating systems like Kali and Metasploit, etc. Because of this, let's start with downloading VMware Player. Alright, open up your browser and then type here download VMware Player. Okay, you will end up with this page, download VMware Workstation Player. And this link redirects you to this page. Select your operating system. I presume it will be Windows. Click download. And you see it has already started downloading. And now don't wait for it to complete and open a new tab. And this time type download Kali. It automatically completes with download Kali Linux. That's fine. Just click this link, official Kali Linux downloads page. Here you'll find different versions with different architectures. We will use Kali Linux 64-bit edition. You can choose the direct link, ISO link, or the torrent file if you wish. I prefer ISO. As you see, it also started downloading. If you scroll down a bit, you will see different versions like this. Download Kali Linux VMware, VirtualBox, or IRM images. We will not use them for this course, but keep in mind that you can use them to skip installing and configuring Kali and use the pre-built version directly as well, especially under this link. Now it is time to download our first victim environment, which is Metasploitable. So that's why open a new tab and type Metasploitable. Download Metasploitable. Okay. Okay, click this link in the sourceforge.net. Then simply click this link again. As you see, it will start in a few seconds. And now open a new tab for our last item, Windows 7. Windows 7 is not among the newest Windows operating system, yet it has some security issues. That's one of the reasons we can use it for this course. But let me ask you a question at this moment. Have you ever wanted to download a legal and safe version of Windows operating system for free? Well, I have. Luckily, Microsoft Windows has something great which we can use in this course. Search for the term download Windows VMS. Okay. Click this link from developer.microsoft.com and you will end up on this page. Select your virtual machine, which is IE8 Internet Explorer 8 on Windows 7, and then select your platform, VMware, and then click the download.zip button. As you see, it also has started downloading the product. Okay, I think that's enough for the downloads. Depending on your network speed, your downloads should be completed in around 15 minutes or half an hour. But before proceeding to our next lecture, make sure you have them all. VMware Player, which I have already downloaded here, Kali, Metasploitable, Explorer 8 Windows 7. By the way, it looks like it will take a couple of hours on my network. If you are lost for the links or searching the terms didn't work out for you, check out the resources on this Udemy course. I have gathered the download links for you. In this lecture, we will install the VMware Player together. So let's find the exe file of VMware Player setup. I have collected my files which I have downloaded in the previous lecture here. I created a folder named Downloads and you see my files. Double click on the setup file to get started. Next, accept, check next. I will deselect this, but that's up to you. I can simply click finish to complete this process, but keep in mind, if there's a problem during the setup process, especially regarding the VMware services, try disabling virtualization in the BIOS menu of your computer. First disable it, install this VMware Workstation Player, and then go back to BIOS again. Of course, you should reboot your computer first, and then enable it, then you'll be fine. Let's click finish to complete the setup. In the previous lecture, we have installed our virtualization tool VMware Player. Now it is time for Kali. Keep in mind that Kali needs 20 GB of free space by default. Together with the Metasploitable and Windows 7 machines which we will install, I recommend you to free up around 50 GB in your hard drive before installing the systems. Okay, let's open up this VMware Workstation Player. If it asks, of course, you can enter an email address if requested. Okay, click Player, File, and then New Virtual Machine. You should point our ISO file, which we have downloaded previously, Kali Linux. Okay, click next. Click next, you can leave the defaults. And then, okay, at this stage, let's create a folder here. And I will say my VMs. Of course, you can change the folder name. And then I also create a folder here, Kali 2016. Okay. And then I will browse to my desktop, my VMs, and Kali 2016. Okay, and next. Click next. This option is quite okay, split virtual machines. And when we create files, it grows also with the disks, so it won't allocate 20 GB at once. Let's customize hardware. Especially during the setup process, I recommend you to give more than the defaults, like giving 2 GB as an option. Of course, you can give more if you have resources. Click close and click finish. Okay. Let's play the virtual machine and start the setup process. Okay. Let's come to this graphical install. Okay, now we have this fancy graphical interface. Let's postpone this for now, VMware Tools. English, it's fine. Select your location. I will select Turkey because it also updates the time zone, etc. I will click other, Asia, Turkey, continue, locally United States, continue, key map to use. I have a Turkish keyboard with Q layout, continue, okay, it asks for the host name. Kali is fine. Click continue. Domain name, we can leave it blank. Configure network, okay. Root password. In this stage you will set your root password. I select Tor, because Tor is the default password of Kali. If you are not, for example, installing the Kali rather than downloading it directly as a VM, then you should remember that Tor is the default password. Okay. Click continue. Guided, use entire disk is fine. Click continue, continue. All files in one partition. It's basically kind of a next process. Finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Okay. Write changes to disks. Yes. Continue. And now it started installing the system. Okay, when the installation process asks about a network mirror, let's leave it yes, and click continue. And next, group bootloader, let's leave it yes, and click continue. We should select their SDA here. And continue. Okay, now we have completed the installation, but as it reminds us, we should dismount the ISO file. Otherwise it will restart the installation process, but we have already installed the Kali to the disk. So click player, manage, and then come to this virtual machine settings. Under CD DVD, uncheck this box and click OK and click continue. Okay, looks like we are done. Select Kali, GNU Linux here. And wait for the system to boot. Okay, now we have the screen. We can type our username, which is root, and then our password, which is Tor. Perfect. Now we have Kali up and running. That's it for now. We will turn back to Kali for configuration and much more. Click pause icon here and suspend the machine. Okay. Now this completes the lecture. As you have just seen, installing Kali Linux is not complicated, but there are a few details you need to be careful during the setup. We will talk about Kali more in the upcoming lectures. Do you remember we have briefly talked about staying on the legal side, right? But we also want to learn ethical hacking by doing what it takes. We want to practice our skills. For this purpose, we will set up our own victim, Metasploitable, in this stage. So, We have previously downloaded the required files. I have saved them here. Now, what we will do, we will extract this zip file, which is called Metasploitable Linux 2.0, to the same directory here. Although it doesn't matter where we extract it. When you are done, I recommend you to copy this folder or cut that folder to here, my VMs, because that's another VM we will use. Metasploitable Linux 2.0. As you open the directory, you will see a bunch of files starting with the VM in the extension, like this. This means our virtual machine has been already created, and all we need to do is to import the file into our environment. And to do that, double click the file with the VMX extension, this one. Wait until your VMware player pops up. Okay. When it asks you about the original location of the VM, click I copied it. Let's click this one again, remind me later. Remind me later. As you see, this setup is much easier than the previous one. Okay. Metasploitable login. Just type msfadmin, press enter, and the password is msfadmin again. That's it, you're done. Now we are ready to move on to the next installation. Don't forget to suspend the VM again by hitting the pause button here, this one. Metasploitable is cool, but it's a Linux operating system. What about Windows? We all know that Windows is the prominent operating system in use today, so learning how to penetrate to Windows environments is very important for penetration testers. So let's open the folder again, which we have previously downloaded the files, this one, and find this Windows 7 folder. Extract the zip file like I've done previously, as you see, and then move the folder again to my VMs. Alright, this time we will follow a different approach. When you double click this, you will see a bunch of files with MF, OVF and VMDK extensions. Double click this OVF extension, this one. Okay, now we will select where we want to save this virtual machine. Let's click browse, and under desktop, my VMs, let's create a new folder again. So maybe we should move this file back to the original location. Let's type IE8 Windows 7 VM. Click OK, and then click Import. Your new operating system should be ready in a few moments. Okay, looks like we have successfully imported this virtual machine. Let's click Remind Me Later again. Okay, let's click OK to restart the VM. This will make the final changes. Okay, IE user, and the password is password, but with capital P, A, S, S, W, 0, RD, and exclamation mark. Okay, looks like we are done. Let's click Restart Now again, and we will continue from where we left in the upcoming lectures. Congratulations, you are doing great following me. Notice that you already have the environment almost ready, and you should already have a sense of managing your own pen testing lab. That's awesome. But there are still lots of great stuff we will do together. We will configure the systems, install VM tools, assign interfaces, network interfaces, and IP addresses to those machines in order to start scanning and taking control of victim machines remotely. See you in the next section. Alright, open your VM player, and now select Kali, although it says Ubuntu 64-bit. Let's update the name by clicking this Edit Virtual Machine Settings. In the second tab, Options, you will find Virtual Machine Name. Type Kali 2016. Okay. Now, by clicking this green arrow here, or from the lower right side, Play Virtual Machine, let's continue from where we left. Okay, starting from the upper right corner here, this is the place where you can control and configure Kali for basic stuff, such as shutting down the operating system, changing the volume here, network related configurations, or signing out and such stuff. Let's close our session and reopen it. Let's practice a little bit by clicking this root and then log out. Let's log out. And then log in again by typing root and your password, which is Tor by default, or whatever the password you have set during the installation phase. Okay. Let's click this icon again and then lock the virtual machine, the operating system Kali. When you see the screen, you can simply press space or drag the desktop from bottom to up like this. Type your password again, Tor. Okay. You can shut down your VM from this icon, or you can change or configure the settings by clicking this icon. And of course, you can change your hardware or system-wide settings from here as well. Let's change the resolution for display. Click display and click this, and then update the resolution. I will select, let's take a look. Okay, 1024, 768, and then click apply. Keep changes. Okay. Now this is the updated display. Another important thing here to do is checking the time zone, whether it is aligned with your local time correctly. Open the settings You will see three sections in this settings: personal, hardware, or system. You will find the settings in one of these three sections. Now click date and time. It says Istanbul, Turkey, which is fine. Automatic dates update, which is fine again. Seems pretty okay. Let me ask you a question at this moment. When you are working with many applications, have you ever felt crowded because of so many windows? Well, during penetration tests, you will probably feel that way. So that's why Kali has a solution for that. You can open different applications like Iceweasel, terminal windows, and so on in different workspaces. Let me show you how. Click the square which says 1. This is your workspace 1. You are already in there. Open an application like this one, Iceweasel. Okay, now click this square again and then click workspace 2. This is your second workspace. Let's open terminal application here. Come back to workspace 1, Iceweasel, workspace 2, terminal windows. Okay, let's close this and then come back to workspace 1. Let's close this one too. Next, recording your sessions. This is very important in professional ethical hacking life. Oftentimes you will be asked about what you have done or how you have accomplished the tasks during a pen test. Kali has a solution for that. Click the camcorder icon and configure the settings here. No audio source, it says. Record all desktop, which is fine. 1 second of delay in registration. You can update this setting as well. And of course you can change other options by clicking that. Options, screencast options, frame per seconds, etc, etc. Okay, this is where it saves the files. Okay, let's close this and then come back here and start recording. Okay, it started recording after 1 second delay. Let's open terminal and then, for example, type ls, or let's list the documents like this, and then come back here again and stop recording. Now let's take a look what we have recorded. Open files and then come to videos. There are 2 recordings in this folder. Let's open the newest one, which we have just saved. Okay. Now it has started playing. As I clicked terminal, it saved it. As you can see, ls and ls-lart. Okay. Okay, next item, calendar. Click here to open the calendar, which is on the right hand side. And on the left hand side, you will see notifications. If something has happened, for example, which we have saved this recording, system notifies you. Of course, you will find different notifications here as well. And our next item, places. Places is the place where you will find shortcuts for most used folders and locations like home, desktop, documents, downloads, etc. Let's click downloads, for example. Of course, there is nothing here. Let's close the window. Okay, next item, applications. This is probably your most frequent menu you will visit. Applications are listed here based on their purpose and category, starting from the information gathering, which you see here, to system services, like this one. You will find your tools based on your needs. But don't worry if you are not familiar with the tools now. You simply cannot learn them all at once. Let's continue with other shortcuts from the left toolbar. This one. Starting from the iceweasel and terminal window, you will find this bar very useful. You will get used to the locations and these icons as you play with them. Pay special attention to the icon Show Applications here in the bottom, as you can reach all pen testing tools from this shortcut as well. Like this. Press Escape key from your keyboard to exit from the menu. And that's it. You are doing great so far. And I bet you already feel confident with the tools and interface of Kali. Play with the tools and shortcuts. Maybe change the wallpaper to customize your Kali a little to feel you own the environment. See you in the next lecture. What we have done so far? We have downloaded and installed the Kali. We have taken a look at the interface, the layout, and where to find the pen testing tools. Now let's start configuring the operating system so that it satisfies your needs for the lab environment. But before doing anything else, we need to make sure that our Kali 2016, codename Rolling, is the latest version. First of all, let's make sure our repository is correctly defined in the sources. Open the terminal window and then type more or cat, whatever you want to use, etc up sources.list. As you see in the final line here, my Kali rolling main contrib non-free is correctly defined here. If it is not listed here in your version, open this document with VI or Nano, whatever you use, and then add this line. You can always check the latest repository file by opening this Kali Linux sources list repositories webpage. As you see, it is also defined here. Okay, let's go back to Kali and now type apt-get update. This command updates the list of available packages. Okay, of course the second command is apt-get upgrade. Press Y. This installs newer versions of the packages we have. Note that it may take some time to complete. Okay, now we have updated the system and reflected the latest changes from the repositories to the system. Now we are ready to continue. We have previously mentioned that VM Tools is an important set of tools provided from VMware that enables our virtual operating system to perform significantly faster for graphics performance, to support shared folders with host operating system, and to support drag and drop operations and so on. There is a simpler and recommended way of installing VM Tools starting from the September 2015. Let me show you how. Before typing our command, let's clear the screen by typing clear, and then type apt-get install open VM Tools desktop Fuse. This will install two packages, Open VM Tools Desktop and Fuse. Once the installation process completes, just reboot the system. Okay, now we have rebooted the system. Let's take a look what has changed. By the way, I can see terminal window icon here for some reason. So let's put it back. Type terminal, right click and add to favorites. Okay, press escape, and then you see the terminal window icon here. I move it right after this files, and then I click the terminal to open it. Okay, one of the features I like most about VM tools is it enables you to copy and paste directly from your host operating system to guest and vice versa. So, for example, let me type my sample text here, and I copied it, and I press Shift Insert to paste it. As you can see, it copied the text from the host. Likewise, you can copy the text from here and then paste it back. You will find this capability very useful in your penetration testing campaigns. In this lecture, we will take a look at the top tools in Kali. It is important to know most frequently used tools to get started fast in penetration testing. But don't forget, there are many tools, maybe tens or hundreds of tools, applications designed for pen testing. Even in Kali, there are more than 350 tools. You can't learn them all at once, but step by step, you will learn the basic principles of how things work, and then you will be able to find what you are looking for. But for now, we will start with the basics, yet most used ones. Okay, let's start with the files icon. You can reach your files, for example your documents, downloads, music, etc. from this icon here. And second, terminal. This is of course not a tool by itself, but you will use this command line to access almost all stuff in Kali. Okay, next one, Iceweasel. Although not listed here in the favorites bar, Iceweasel is a web browser which is a product of Mozilla. Let's find it by clicking Show Applications and then typing Iceweasel. Right click, add to favorites, escape and escape. Now you see this. You can move it wherever you want. Okay, the icon is a bit different than Mozilla Firefox, but almost all options are the same with the Firefox browser. Our next tool is Nmap, the famous network mapper or network scanner, so to speak. You can't see the icon here because we will use Nmap directly from the command line like this, Nmap. This tool in one sentence is the network exploration, security and port scanner, which you will use all the time. You can type Nmap, like I did, to list of options for target specification or host discovery, etc. We will talk a lot about Nmap in the upcoming lectures. There is also a GUI version of Nmap, which is called ZenMap. To access ZenMap, click Show Applications and then type ZenMap. Okay, this is the GUI version and this is the command line version. And next one, Metasploit. Metasploit framework is probably the #1 place you will spend most of your time during your ethical hacking projects. It is a penetration testing platform or framework, so to speak, which is used from scanning to exploitation and privilege escalation phases. You can start Metasploit by clicking the icon here from the favorites bar on the left. Take some time, especially when you first run Metasploit, but we will talk about Metasploit a lot in the upcoming lectures. Okay, Armitage, the next one, is a tool which works together with Metasploit and makes pen testing easier for teams with collaboration and better visualization options. It needs to connect to Metasploit database. Okay, let's close this for now. Okay, the next one, Burp Suite. It is an integrated platform for performing security testing of web applications. And the next one, Beef, is yet another tool focuses on the web browser exploitation. Acronym stands for Browser Exploitation Framework. You will find this tool useful especially for leveraging exploits to reach behind hardened perimeters like network and client systems. And the next one, Faraday. This one provides an integrated pen testing platform, IPE, which is purely designed for collaborative pen testing and data sharing among pen testers. Although similar with Armitage, Faraday is more focused on multiplayer monitoring of your colleagues and easy reporting. I'm closing it for now. Okay. And then this one, LeafPad. LeafPad is a very simple text editor for taking notes easy. Alright, you probably heard about many new tools and terminologies in this lecture. Don't worry if you don't grasp them all at once, but try to get familiar with the tools. Just open them, try to understand what they are doing, but don't spend too much time on them yet. For this course, please pay special attention to Nmap and Metasploit, as we will practice much more in the upcoming lectures. Congratulations! Now I believe you feel much more confident with Kali. Let's quickly review what you have achieved in this section so far. Now you know how to start and shut down your Kali virtual machine. You have updated your Kali operating system with update and upgrade commands. And you have installed VM tools, which provides useful set of tools for your Kali. You are now familiar with the desktop interface, which enables you to find settings you want to configure, such as resizing your desktop, changing your date and time, and regional options. Beyond that, you know where to find pen testing tools in Kali and know the names of some popular tools. You also run the most frequently tools like Iceweasel, Metasploit, and Nmap, and get a feeling of how they run and where to start them. In the upcoming lectures, we will take a deeper look on the victim machines and start sending exploits to them. Now that we know our attacking environment's Kali, now we can focus on the victim environment. Think about this. You are now learning how to conduct pen testing from start to end, but you can't simply go out and say, I have learned how the tools operate, such as Nmap and Metasploit, so I can now do this professionally. Well, it simply doesn't work that way. The reason is you need practical experience. That's why we need an environment to sharpen our skills, and yes, that environment should be exploitable. Because of this, we will walk through how to set up Metasploitable and Windows 7 machines as our targets. Let's start with Metasploitable. You have previously downloaded and installed Metasploitable, remember? Now open your VM player. Okay. Click Metasploitable to Linux. And then click this Edit Virtual Machine Settings. Okay. Now as you can see, there are hardware options and other options here in the second tab. You can change them if you like, especially on this page. Hardware related things like increasing the memory here or increasing the number of processor cores like this. But the important part is make sure this network adapters, this one and this one, have NAT and host only connection modes. Never expose this VM to untrusted networks like the internet. Close the screen. We haven't changed anything. and then play the virtual machine. Okay. There's no GUI here, as you noticed, but no problem. We don't need it. Log into console with username msfadmin and password msfadmin again. Okay. If you have not done already, type ifconfig to check your IP address. Note that this might be different in your instance. Okay. Now you see the IP address 192.168.174.131. By the way, if your keyboard setting is different than default English layout, like mine, there are some weird characters. If I press Turkish, special Turkish characters, you can change the keyboard layout by typing sudo load keys tr. Of course, this is for Turkish. And then sudo set xkb map tr. Although it says cannot open display, it doesn't matter. Now I have my special characters, although I don't need it here. Now, okay, where were we? We need to know the IP address of this machine. Have you seen this IP address? Let's double check this by typing ifconfig. This 192.168.174.131, this one, is the IP address of this machine. We will need this later. Okay, now leave this VM here and go back to open Kali by double clicking VM player again, and then clicking Kali, and then play virtual machine. We will check if everything is nice and correctly working. We need these two machines to connect to each other. Okay. Tor. Okay. Open a terminal window and then ping the IP address which we have learned previously. 174.131. Okay, let's double check virtual machine settings here. Network adapter NAT connected, it's fine. What about this? Everything seems fine. Oh, I see my mistake. You see the IP address here, 166. The correct one should be 168. Okay, now it pings. If you receive responses back, that's perfect. It means we are on the right track. Although don't forget, your IP address is probably different than this one. Make sure you ping the correct IP address which you have learned in this Metasploitable operating system. We will soon start scanning the Metasploitable for open ports and take advantage of vulnerabilities in the upcoming sections. Metasploitable is a Linux-based distro, but in real-life production environments, pen testers mostly deal with Windows systems much more. As we have talked before, it is because Windows is the most common operating system, and most client systems are on Windows platforms today. That's why our second system is a Windows 7 machine. It would have been much better if we have a legal version of Windows XP as well, because of the easy target, but Microsoft does not provide it on the webpage we have downloaded Windows 7 before. So if you have a Windows XP machine, that's fine too. Now let's continue with configuring Windows 7. Let's start with checking the VM settings again, but for Windows 7 this time. Okay, let's open Windows 7 VM, this one, and then click Edit Virtual Machine Settings. As you can see, there is no default network adapter in this VM. We don't see one, so we should add one. I can't add one now, probably because it is open but suspended. So I open this virtual machine, I click shutdown. Okay. Let's open the VM player again. Click Windows 7, edit virtual machine settings. And then as you can see, I can add something. Click add. Okay. Network adapter, next. NAT is fine, although it should be NAT, because we don't want to expose this VM to internet. Okay, connected. Click OK. And then play the virtual machine. Now our second step would be to ensure our VM has a network connection, because we have just added an adapter for this. So we will open a terminal and then check the settings if everything is fine. As you see, it is now installing the device, which we have just added. Okay. Now let's double check if everything is fine. Home network here. And then I click start and command prompt. Okay, let's type ipconfig to see the IP address of this machine, which is 192.168.174.132. I actually don't need to create an home group. I click cancel. By the way, if you have a different keyboard again and you want to change the keyboard layout, open the control panel by clicking start and opening the control panel here. And then click this change keyboards or other input methods. Change keyboards. Click add here. My keyboard is Turkish, so I click this one. Turkish Q. Okay. Move up to make it default. Okay. Okay. Don't forget to change the settings here as well. Perfect. Okay, now we know the IP address of this machine, Metasploitable, and Kali, right? So let's go back to Kali and test everything is fine with this Windows 7 and Kali connection. Okay. I pressed up arrow on my keyboard. Now, what was my IP address? 174.132 this time. Okay. Why I cannot ping? Turn Windows Firewall on or off. What happens if I turn off the Windows Firewall? As you can see, now it pings the machine. So that means firewall is blocking or ping probes. You might think, okay, what is the point if I turn off the firewall, of course I can hack into systems. But don't forget, there might be always some vulnerabilities and problems with these machines which we will actually exploit and take advantage of them. That's the whole point. If you have enough security measures deployed in your systems, well, it is less likely that a hacker can hack into your system. As in this case, we had to disable the firewall, turn off the firewall to start pinging the machine. As now we are learning how these things work, how hacking and penetration testing, of course we will leave the systems open and vulnerable. Okay. The next thing we would do is open this leaf pad, as we have previously talked about, and then type the IP addresses we have learned. ifconfig, this is the IP address of our Kali machine. Copy. And then leaf pad. Paste. Or next item, Metasploitable. Let's open Metasploitable. And then see this IP address 174.131. I can't copy and paste it directly because I don't have a GUI in this machine. 31. Let's double check. Okay. And Windows 7. Copied it, I pasted. Okay. And then I save this file to my desktop with the name of IP addresses. Okay. Perfect. If at any point during this course you can't reach victim machines, open the VMs from their console and check their IP addresses and settings. It is very important for the rest of the course since we will be mostly dealing with scanning and exploiting them using their IP addresses. Sometimes they can automatically change, so if you reboot the machine, don't forget to check the IP addresses again. That's the end of this lecture, and we will continue with making the Windows 7 vulnerable in the next lecture. Now that we have Windows 7 up and running, we need to make it vulnerable for our pen testing lab. Let's minimize this Kali 2016 and Metasploitable and focus on this. I close this window, okay, now I have it. In order to make this system vulnerable, we will install a vulnerable application and exploit that using Kali later. So, open up your Internet Explorer in Windows 7. By the way, let's turn off the firewall again because we are now connected to the internet. Check firewall status. Okay, let's do it like this. For home or private work network location settings, the firewall will be turned off, but for public network location settings, it will be turned on. Okay. Now go to this URL, www.exploit-db.com. This is a huge exploit database. You can find lots of exploit codes in this site, and many of them are actually already included in Metasploit. Since we have this URL now, click the URL bar again and then type exploits 22094. Okay, you will end up with this Manage Engine Security Manager Plus exploit. As you see the details here, you will have this download exploit links and also download vulnerable app shortcut. Click download vulnerable app by clicking this icon. Click save. Let's save it to the desktop. Click save. Unsave. It says this, but disregard because we know what we're doing, right? Okay. Once you downloaded this file, click run. Click yes. Okay, let's close this because I opened this file 2 times. Okay, now it is installing. Next, yes, next, next. Don't worry about the details of this application. It is simply a vulnerable application, which we will take advantage of this using Kali in the upcoming lectures. Leave this checkbox on, says start server now, and click finish. You will see an icon in the taskbar. Now it is starting up this application. As you can see, server status starting. By default, this application does not accept remote connections. Instead of dealing with the program settings, as we have done in the previous lecture, let's disable the firewall again. Turn Windows firewall on or off. Let's turn off for home network and turn off for public network settings again. And click OK. It might not make sense at first, but remember, you first need to learn how exploits and payloads work. Then you can focus on advanced stuff like bypassing firewalls, etc. It says it stopped, so I start the service manually by right-clicking and then clicking Start Service button. Okay, it says Security Manager service started in 24 seconds. Running. Service status, running, which means it is fine. And that's it. Now our Windows 7 is ready for our exploitation attempts, as we will do shortly. Congratulations! You have already deployed your own virtual pen testing lab. In this section, you have checked the network connections and made sure everything works nicely. You have also installed a specific application to Windows 7 machine in order to make it vulnerable. You are now able to use Kali as the attacker machine and 2 VMs for victims, Metasploitable, and Windows 7. See you in the next section for much more action.